Welcome to Audacity Works, a podcast inspired by and dedicated to the working artist, the creative entrepreneur, and generally, doing the damn thing. This exists on the premise that the world belongs to those who have the audacity to believe that their lives have value. This is for you. Welcome to Audacity Works. I am your host, Rachel Strickland, and this is episode number 136, and it's about low work June and how I keep my sanity. But first things first, let me wish you all a very happy Pride. At the very least, amongst all of the horrors, we can enjoy being surrounded by rainbows for the next month. Thank God. But I love Pride, and there's something that's been floating up for me several times, which is that the appropriate response to many of the horrors is anger. I get that, and I have a whole podcast on it. I'll even pop it in the show notes if you're feeling pissed off and you don't know what to do about it, because we're not taught how to handle or process that emotion in healthy ways, or indeed even allow it. So that'll be there waiting for you. But one of my favorite quotes that I've heard recently is from Kasia Urbaniak, who says, and this is in her book, Unbound, A Woman's Guide to Power. I'm going to put that in the show notes as well. I'm reading it for the second time. I loved it the first time, but I really wanted to assimilate the information, so I'm reading it again, and there's lots of exercises that you can do. And on the second read, I'm like, I didn't do half of these. No wonder I feel like I didn't assimilate. But anyway, the quote is, "We cannot afford to forget the love that lives inside of rage." And I agree with her. I've seen her speak about this several times, that most people stop at rage because it's such an overwhelming feeling and it's action oriented. So when you're full of rage, you're like, yeah, I know we're going to need to do this. We need to do this. We need to do this. The problem with that is that, one, you're just enraged all the time, which is exhausting. And two, because it's exhausting, people tend to get burnt out and then stop doing anything. And I think what Kasia means by we can't afford to forget the love that lives inside of rage is that we can't afford to lose ourselves to burnout and each other to burnout, because we're enraged all the time. And there's a whole process that she coaches, she calls emotional alchemy. And the basic premise is, when you're angry, as I've said many times, you're really being loving. So instead of fighting against, remember that you're fighting for. And when you can take action from a place of fighting for something, it's so much more sustainable. And what month is better to remember what you're fighting for than Pride Month? What better reminder, as we're surrounded by rainbows, of what we love? So happy Pride, everybody, and your loving selves. So it is June. It's my birthday in a couple of days. I'm turning 43. We usually have a big party in a garden party, darling. We usually rent an inflatable water slide and invite people over and have way too much food in the middle of the day and just enjoy the heat. And it's a big thing. It takes a lot of work. But after I got home from Creatrix a couple weeks ago, I looked at Manflesh, and we hadn't even started planning it. It was 2 weeks away. I was like, I don't want another thing to do. It just feels like work. And he was like, yeah, totally. As it wasn't just as though we were sitting around. My in-laws were just here. My mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and her step-granddaughter. Yeah, you read that right. People have babies at different ages. But we had a lovely time. And as you know, when you have guests, that's the thing that's happening in your life. So thanks yesterday me for not deciding to throw a huge party, which would have just worn me way the fuck down. Because here's the thing about June. I work my ass off. for January through the end of May. And when it gets to June, I tend to be a little bit like a piece of gum on the underside of a desk. So I take slow work June. I've talked about this before, low work December, because those feel like the best months to really focus on doing a lot less. So much less. Because I need some less. December, because it's like, if you want a chance of actually finding enjoyment in the holidays, don't be working. Because you're going to be tired. And June, because it's fucking June, and June is gorgeous. Like, I'm sitting here at my desk looking outside, and I'm like, damn, that's fucking beautiful. Like, my windows are just green. It's just a green square every time you go into a room in our house and look outside. It's like, hello, trees. And the ocean is still cold, but the beach is hot. So nature is really enabling during June for you to go outside and just, this is very Northern Hemisphere, I realize. And also kind of to where I am locally. I don't know what June is like other places. What is it like where you live? So yeah, everything is just really conducive to taking a slower month. But the thing that makes it really possible for me is that there is no other option. I need a break in June where I don't take Zoom meetings and I don't launch products or push to sell things. And yeah, that takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of planning. Because when you run an online business or a hybrid business, which is really what mine is, because I have in-person events and online products. Ugh, products, what an awful word. Anyway, when you run a business like that, you only make money when you're actively selling something. So yeah, it does take a considerable amount of planning and squirreling away during the months where I am pushing really hard. But I tried it a couple years ago for the first time. And the reason that I tried it was because I used to hold a summer cycle of the Audacity project. And after one summer, I realized I had just spent the whole summer inside at my desk. And it made me sad because summer is my favorite time of year. And people be like, like the 3 people that I know, be like, hey, let's go take a walk on the beach. I'm like, I can't. And I'm like, let's change that. And will it be a big reduction in income? Yes. But can we plan for that? Also, yes. So I'm a member of the movement Maestro's Mafia. And if I can find a link to that, I don't know if she's onboarding at the moment. Probably not. But if you want to read about it, I'll put a link to that in the show notes. And it's one of the few Facebook groups worth being a part of. And someone had put up a question about the push, because this is a group where many people have online businesses, and you only make money when you're pushing. Like, the push is relentless. What are we doing to keep ourselves well? So of course I had to chime in, and that's what gave me the idea for this episode, because it is an extraordinary thing to run your own business, regardless of how much income you make from it. It's not about the income. It's about the autonomy. And it is an extraordinary thing. And it takes an extraordinary amount of output to make it happen. And that also means that extraordinary measures need to be taken to keep you safe and sane. I think the first time I said something similar to this, I was talking to Jenny Tufts, and we were discussing, the relentlessness of training. I'll be training. It's all the time. If you want to do circus arts or something deeply physical like that, it takes an extraordinary amount of output. So many hours. Oh my God. Not even to be competent, to be good. So many hours. It's extraordinary. So we have to take extraordinary measures to recover. And this slow low work June is my extraordinary measure. Because much like we cannot afford to forget the love that lives inside of rage, you cannot afford to get burnt out. Well, maybe you can, I don't know. I cannot afford to get burnt out because getting burnt out takes a long time to get back to a good homeostasis from that place. And I know that this is right on time because I can feel myself at the edge. I know that I'm dangerously close to burnout when I will ask someone a question via text or messenger or something. And when they answer the question that I asked them, I'm like, ew. Not about them, not about the answer to their question, just because now I have to deal with another message. Like, oh, okay. So you asked a question, you got an answer back, and now you resent it because now you have to deal with the answer to that question. That means you need a break. That means you need a hard reset. It's not an appropriate response to resent someone answering a question that you asked. That just means you need a break. Of course, most of us are really shit at doing that in any kind of meaningful way. And I am no exception. Look, yeah, I'm not taking the Zoom meetings. I'm not pushing launches or products. But guess what I am doing? I have a show on June 20th where I'm premiering a 30-minute chunk, by far the biggest chunk of The Monstrous Feminine, my one-woman show, in Charleston at the Queen Street Playhouse. I'll put a link to that in the show notes if you're local. I would be honored to see you there. So I wouldn't call this month a break necessarily, but it is a change. And it's a change in focus from solving problems for others, which I love to do and I'm very good at, to solving problems from myself, or for myself. So my focus is really just shifting from out to in, and I'm getting to use the creative part of my brain. It's all about me. It's all for me. And I'm hoping that that feeds me and gives me the reset that I need. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. And I do have an ask of you this week. Consider it a birthday present for me. My birthday is looking at the calendar, Saturday on June 7th, turning 43. And I have mentioned that the Audacity project will run up to and including cycle 30, which will be in the spring of next year. And I've been collecting information, both from myself and from others, about what comes after that. So this is my birthday ask for you. If there is something that you would like to see from me or learn from me, I would really love to know that. And this is not one of those, I'm going to resent you for answering my question, because I'll actually really, really appreciate hearing anything from you in response to this question. Even if it's nothing, if it's just like, no, I just like listening to your podcast. Well, thank you for listening. But if there is something that you would like to see from me or learn from me, please let me know. I would love to know that. That would be a very good birthday present for me. As well, if you have requests for future episodes, you can, plop those over to me. You can reach me always on Instagram at Rachel Strickland Creative or on Patreon at Rachel Strickland Creative. It's going to be a little bit shorter of an episode today, and probably for June, all of them, for the reasons that I have already discussed. But thank you for sitting with me. Thank you for listening. This podcast is powered by Patreon, so extra special shout out to my patrons. Oh my God, thank you for supporting this podcast, for supporting me and my show. Thank you for your trust, and thank you for standing next to me. This could not exist without you, not in the way that it does. Until next time, my friends, keep fighting. Keep enjoying, but fight for what you love, fight for, and take whatever extraordinary measures you need to take. And don't go back to sleep.